let's talk about onboarding. Your onboarding is going to go through three big things that you want to get from your client to deal with stuff before it comes up, to get the information that you need to have less back and forth and things like that. I'll show you real fast. This is what I really would recommend people do. And it's usually not the standard, like, do this, do that kind of thing. And honestly, I don't care if you use a Google form or Slack or Basecamp or any of that. Like, I'm tool agnostic. I don't care. Like, I have used Google Forms to onboard clients. It's fine. I've used an email and they reply and then they put their answers in. It's fine. I've done a video call. It's fine. I'm not talking about the vehicle or the medium to get this information. I'm just simply talking about what you're going to need and how you're going to have to think about it. First things first, which is the easiest? Let's just put required info. So that's like, what's your business's name on Facebook? I need access to it. Please approve me. How much are you going to spend on ads? When is your business open? Who's the main contact? So like required information. You can probably think of the first 5 to 10 questions all by your own. And the remaining 5 to 10 questions are like stuff you're like, oh, fuck, I forgot. I'm going to ask that next time. Some questions are sometimes like, do you service Spanish-speaking communities? Oh, we totally forgot to answer that question or ask that question, by the way, for like the first 10 clients. So to message them like, hey, do you do Spanish? Okay, cool. So we added that to the form. And then we were like, oh, just because they answer yes does not mean that they want more Spanish-speaking clients coming in. So we had to clarify that, like, are you open to serving more Spanish-speaking clients? So like, there's always some adjustments, stuff like that. But with the required info phase, like, you're going to think the questions that you need. And then there's always 4 or 5 more that you're not going to remember until after, and you just kind of put them in. We've gone from like 4 or 5 onboarding questions, maybe 10 to 15. I know people that only ask 3. Cool. And those 3 were like, what's your name? What phone number should we send these leads to? And give us your headshot. Cool. Really simple. That's it. Or you can go a little bit more complex, like what we do, where we ask questions like, who's the best person to pick up the phone? Cool. Do you promise to call back or pick up the phone and follow best practices? Yes. Do you promise to use blank business practice in your business? Yes. Cool. I agree that we will be secret shopping you. You can do more advanced stuff like that, but it's effectively like required information. Cool. Second is setting expectations and culture. And so this is where you can talk about, look, this is how we're going to communicate. This is how often we're going to communicate. This is what it's okay to say. This is what's not okay to say. This can either be an actual deck where you walk them through it live, a recording, check boxes, stuff like that. If you have a guarantee, you can have like the stipulations of our guarantee, just like Honda has a guarantee, but you can't like modify the engine. You can be like, look, the way our guarantee works is you promise to do blank, 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 blank. We promise to do blank, 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 and blank. Cool. So that's like part of the guarantee part, which is parting out of expectations and culture. You can talk about like, hey, this is how often we're going to be communicating, 24 hours, 48 hours. This is how you reach out to your account manager or to me. You have an emergency hotline. Please use it appropriately. You can schedule your biweekly call here. The first 3 weeks of your campaign are always testing, and you'll get the worst quality results in the first 3 weeks. You have to understand that and expect that. And we require feedback to tell us who's come in, who's not, and things along those lines. Great. So setting expectations and culture is a big thing. Next up is, I like to call it seeding. And this is something that I'm testing out now that I'm learning, and I haven't quite mastered it. But if you have a next year program, you can talk about your next year program in your first year program. If you don't have a next year program, you should be seeding anyway. So you can be like, hey, look, stereotypically what we find is that our clients will go from 0 to an extra $100,000 a month added to their business in 90 days. And we're gonna have checkpoints along that path every 3 weeks to make sure you're on that part and on that path and see what's working, what's not. And stereotypically, once we found that a client has gone from 0 to 50K, they actually qualify for our next tier program, which is X, Y, Z, and 1, 2, and 3. If at any time you feel like you're qualified for that program, there's a next steps video here that we will send to you. I want you to keep in mind, because the challenges you're going to have at 0 to 50K are going to be different than the challenges of 50 to 100K. It is a next tier program, and keep that in mind. So that's called an example of like seeding. which is effectively like, hey, I'm super happy you like your iPhone 9. Wait till you get the iPhone 10. Oh my God, that's gonna be so great. Isn't the W3 series great? Like the cool part about the 3 series is it naturally leads into the 5 series or 7 series. Cool. So that's called seeding. So required info, setting expectations and culture, seeding, and then I forget this one right here. I think I already talked about and communications. I know I'm missing something. Required info, setting expectations, culture and communications, seeding for the next step. Oh, and then course area and best practices. What I like to do is actually give my clients a series of recordings based upon research that I've done, people that I've talked to, research journals that I've listened to or read, or books, things like that, or even people that I've paid that are dream clients, and paid them like $100 an hour to talk to me for 30, 45 minutes. What do you do? How do you do all that fun stuff? And I say, look, your first job or your first thing that you need to do while we're building out a campaign is actually spend 30 minutes a day, every day, watching and listening to these videos. You can do that while you're driving. You can do that during your lunch break, something like that. Here's 10 videos right here. And those videos could be like best practices, interviews you've done with those people, interviews done with your previous clients, examples of when stuff goes wrong. So like let's just say like one of the best practices that I need you to do as a business owner is actually pick up the phone correctly and stick with the script. And I know you're gonna say like our friend Tess does it. I hear you loud and clear. What I want you to do is watch this video and I'm gonna play back redacted recordings of real life clients, front desk, and how they picked up the phone. And I want you to not make this mistake. And I know you're gonna say your staff is good. I get you. And if you are probably the top 1%. But I'm telling you, every person that's gone through this program has said their staff knows how to pick up the phone and they don't. And so you're gonna listen to me actually like have conversations and listen to recordings of my clients' front desk bomb sales calls. And this will probably be the #1 reason why you bomb the campaign. And so like that'll be part of the course area and best practices. Something that we're testing out now, by the way, is like in the form or client course areas, like a signature, and you can do that through like high level or something like that. Like I agree to do all this stuff. I've listened to it. I know how the money back guarantee works if you have one, things like that. So onboarding is like, hey, required information, name, number, email, access, blah, blah, blah. And inside you said expectations, culture, and communications. Sometimes it's a live call. Sometimes it's a recording. Nick Korm uses the don't be a Karen type of thing, which is like super fun. In our niche, we say like, hey, you know how like you have patients that don't brush their teeth and lie to you and say that they do? Don't be that person with us. So things like that. Hey, so we're gonna take you stereotypically from $0 to $100,000 added to your business in 90 days. And what we found is the 0 to 50K works, but the 50 to 100K, there's different unique challenges. And you should be thinking about joining our next tier program if you hit the $50,000, and then we can solve those problems as well. And here's your course area and best practices. And I want you to spend 30 minutes a day, every day, for the next few weeks while we're building out your campaign to make sure that you don't bomb your campaign, you get the intended results. So again, this is setting aside like whether it's Google Forms or a course area or Kajabi or whatever it is. Like I don't care about the tool. I care about what happens with the tool. So things along those lines, and I try to keep this generic enough to where like anybody could watch this without regard to their niche or their industry, whether it's like local business or e-commerce, doesn't matter. Like this type of stuff is probably where you need to go and how you need to get there. So I hope